All right, everybody, here we go. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time, thank you for coming in Conspicuous Thoughts. I'm Ace Mob, and it's WrestleMania weekend, baby. Pretty excited. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as excited as I have been in the past for WrestleMania. But it's to each their own. I mean, a lot of people got their opinion about this one. They think this one is one of the poorly built WrestleManias in history. I can't say in history because unfortunately, I'm old enough that I've been alive for all of the WrestleMania, so that's also a blessing as well. Um, but this WrestleMania 41 definitely. I think after last year's WrestleMania, where the whole thing with Cody giving his spot to The Rock, and then WWE really wanted to have Roman Reigns versus The Rock. TKO had just purchased WWE, and they wanted their first one to be big. Big, and in their opinion, they thought big would be The Rock versus Roman Reigns. But the fans said, hell no, we want Cody Rhodes to finish his story. So, long story short, Cody finished his story, and WrestleMania last year had like the Avenger style ending. I mean, damn. Everybody was coming out. The Usos, Solo Sokoa, Undertaker, Seth Rollins. I mean, Method Man. Oh, I'm just kidding. Method Man didn't come out. He probably was in the audience though. So, with this WrestleMania build, it's a lot of people online have been complaining, and those who've been for it and those who've been against it. So me personally, I'll give my opinions as we watch this video. So the video we're gonna be watching C Jack's 525's video, and let's just say he's got a unique way of his approach to WWE booking. But anyway, if you guys new to the channel, before we get into this video, definitely hit the subscribe button. Definitely like the content. Comment. Leave a comment how you think WrestleMania 41 will turn out in the end. But hey, definitely hit the notification bell so whenever I drop something, it'll let you know. Because that YouTube algorithm be killing you, boy. So, all right. Again, if you guys aren't subscribed to CJax 525, please subscribe to his channel as well. I am. I damn near wake up every day with one of his rants. So, let's sit back, let's watch this, and it's WrestleMania season, baby. Let's go.
Are you ready for more disrespect to the fans because I'm a moron because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, Triple H has decided to go back at it again with the disrespect to the fans. Now, yesterday we discussed Triple H's comments on a recent podcast about how fans on the internet are not real, you know what I'm saying, which is obviously double standard BS because the fans have altered WWE's opinions, you know what I'm saying, and altered the way that they book things multiple times. We've seen this as early as last year's WrestleMania. You understand? The We Want Cody thing was apparently no, the internet's not real. But the We Want Cody thing translated to real life, which translated to WWE changing storylines. We got Final Boss Rock. It mainly ended up being great, and the fans got what they wanted with Cody's title reign. But again, how did that title reign turn out? But that's a different discussion for another day. But now, right? We are now a situation where we're 2 or 3 days from Mania at this point, and Triple H 2 or 3 days from Mania, right? Instead of booking a great WrestleMania and actually building a great build to this show and getting us more excited for these matches and these stories, Triple H is telling fans to F off. That is what this guy is worried about right now. I mean, this this is laughable at this point, man. What are you talking about? And it's starting to become really easy to tell that the critiques and the complaints from the fans are starting to get to Triple H because in all these different interviews and podcasts he's doing, he keeps on bringing up the fans and their complaints and their critiques, and he refers to it as B-wording or moaning or complaining.
Okay, now that's another thing. Uh, okay, WWE, you can't complain about how the fans are because you celebrate it on one side, like look at all the views and impressions and retweets and all this stuff through various social media outlets. And then one minute, because they're complaining, they're not real fans, they're bots. It comes off as very egotistical in my opinion. I mean, Triple H, I can't call you out because you've lived the business you lived the dream that so many of us wrestlers wanted to live. You got to see the world. So you can't sit there 1 minute and go, oh man, the fans are great. Look at the gate attendance. We broke box office records. We done all this and that. But the sad part is, we know after WrestleMania, we usually got the day we call Black Tuesday, where a lot of wrestlers are going to be released. You got WWE bringing in all these wrestlers, as we say, the AEW wrestlers that are jumping ship. Listen, guys, I'm an indie wrestler. And let me tell you, if you got an opportunity to live your dream, it doesn't matter if it's in WWE, AEW, MLW, Impact, NWA, New Japan, wherever you want your dreams to live and happen, let it happen. But to complain about the fans' gripes online, it makes you look desperate. When it's good, it's phenomenal. When it's bad, oh, they're bots. So you're saying all the views you got are bots. Okay, Trips.
You know what I'm saying? Or F off now. It's absolutely unbelievable what this guy is doing at this point. He's probably already seen multiple different YouTube channels, you know what I'm saying? Twitter accounts, TikToks, Instagrams, calling out his BS. And because of that, now this dude is now upset. You understand? He may have even seen my video. You know what I'm saying? Like, at this point, that's just possibly at this point. You know what I mean? So in WWE, in Triple H, deep down, they know that part of the criticisms and the complaints that they're getting are true. And that's what pisses them off and irritates them inside, because their egos can't handle the fact that their product isn't perfect. You get what I'm saying? So anyways, yesterday Triple H conducted an interview for WWE's YouTube channel, which, by the way, they made it seem as if this journalist wanted to interview Triple H, but Triple H is the head of the company. So he obviously set this interview up himself.
So he set
and he's
the
acting
interview
like
up
it was a
and made
random
it like,
occurrence.
thank you for
and the
interviewing
interview's
me.
talking about some thank you for your time. As if Triple H didn't set this up himself. It's ridiculous, the ego on this guy at this point, man. He's clearly doing this because he wants to talk back to the fans, and he wants to also explain what he's doing for Mania and all this other nonsense. It's done out of selfishness for what he's doing. You understand? So, but anyways, in the interview, he says word for word, this is going to sound offensive, but I wish I could tell people to F off being a critic and to just be a fan. So basically, like yesterday.
Wait a minute. What? I'm going to have to find that one. So he told fans, he would love to tell fans to F off. Damn, man, you brave. So the people that you want to fill your buildings, you're telling them to F off. Oh my God. To buy your merchandise. Man, I don't know, man. Listen, I've always said Triple H has always come off as a person to me who can never take criticism. But he gives criticism. He critique other people. So that's always a kind of a cringe to me. Like, you're willing to critique other things. Like, oh, they're just okay. They're okay. Or they're bad. Oh, it's me. Y'all need to shut up. Y'all need to F off. Get out of here. Leave me alone. I'm the game. Hey, to each their own. Like I said, if you're a Triple H fan, hey, put in the comments, you yay or nay. I don't care. But as a person, even though I'm, indie wrestler and all that stuff, I still love the art of wrestling and the beauty of the contest. And this weekend, men and women are going to perform in front of 50,000 people. So that is a hell of a thing, man. To perform in front of that many people and live your dream at the same time. Sign me up. But whatever, man. Let's get back to it.
Yesterday, he's basically telling you to be a bot and consume the content. Do not critique, do not ask questions. Enjoy the content, enjoy the product like a bunch of sheep, and don't ask questions. And you see, Triple H and WWE, they have this stupid, idealized version of themselves in a way, right? So they say everything is amazing, everything's awesome, you understand, everything is perfect, the business is booming, it's the best it's ever been, Cody's the workhorse fighting champion, he's awesome, and because of this, right, WWE, whenever they get any sort of criticism or any sort of backlash, it's just automatically either the internet isn't real, or you're complaining, or you're moaning, or you're just, you need to F off and just watch it as a fan. It's ridiculous. WWE and Triple H want 100% of the credit and 0% of the blame. So they brag on social media when the social media numbers are great. Look at this segment here, guys. Cena turned heel. You got hundreds of millions of views. Look at this segment from Survivor Series. Roman Reigns and Punk, they got hundreds of millions of views. And they brag about gates and nonsense and, how they went overseas and did this and did the live event. And it's just basic inflation and sponsors and deals. Obviously things are going to be more expensive now. They're going to be paying more than ever. I mean, what, a decade ago, movie ticket prices prices were in like the single digits, I'm pretty sure, right? Or at least around $10. Now they're like upwards around like $20. So it's just over time things grow. So now when you're getting all these ads and Prime and Snickers and the Minecraft movie and all this nonsense, yeah, you're going to be making more money off that. But is your product getting better? No.
No.
And you know it's not getting better because the viewership is going down, but the complaints from the fans are going up.
Okay, now I'm gonna pause there, break it. Now here's my biggest complaint about where you look at AEW, WWE, because unlike most of these content creators, I'm a wrestling fan. You got too many glazers out there in the YouTube streets. Uh, now you got great content creators, like Simon Miller. Absolutely love Simon Miller, man. He covers the whole scope of wrestling. He's also a wrestler himself. But then you got people who glaze, they overreact. Oh my god, I hate the oh my god, so and so this song with AEW or WWE, he jump ship. I don't care. Congratulations, you got a person to sign a bigger bag. Because of AEW, wrestlers are getting more damn money. And then, you got content creators that are yelling, they're jumping out of their seat, they're on the floor so they can get their 5 seconds, not 15 seconds, 5 seconds of fame on a little collage that WWE put together. Look how the content creators reacted. Whoop-de-doo. If that's your dream, then I hate to tell you, it's going to be a nightmare because it's only going to bring you fake fans. I understand this is how we make our bread. This is how people make their bones on the content creation, to live their dreams as well. But you're living your dreams by critiquing men and women who are actually working. I don't know how frustrated I get on that front. Me as a wrestler, I've been told I sucked, and I go, okay, thank you. You know why it's easy for me to say that? Because you can't get in the ring and do what I do. You can't get in the ring and do what John Cena do, what CM Punk do, what Will Ospreay do, what the Young Bucks do, what Moxley and all these guys do. So it's easy to critique. Oh, he botched. Well, we're only human. So people are going to mess up. But I'm not mad when fans complain if they feel that the content they're watching isn't great. You're asking us to pay our money. We want to be entertained. No, I'm not wishing and praying for somebody to get hurt, or we're not actually to be perfect. We're just asking you to show up and let's do it. The men and women are doing the best they can, but here's the problem. He said it before. Jax definitely complained he's not a Cody Rhodes fan. I am a Cody Rhodes fan. I think Cody Rhodes is the example of what you want to do and want to be in wrestling. Well, let me explain. Everybody know he was Stardust. He went to management. He said, hey, give me the ball. I want to shoot. I want to be the point guard. I want to be the star of the team. I want to carry the team. I want to do everything. They said, no. He said, okay. He left. This man went down to the bottom, independent wrestling, and took on some of the greats. He had a list where he wanted to face certain athletes. He did all this. He built his name up, grinding hard, and became the American Nightmare in that. And he also took a bet. Him and the Young Bucks, with some help from some friends, all in, which led to All Elite Wrestling. Now, for the first time since WCW went under, you have two major companies in the U.S. who can sell over 10,000 seats at a venue. Damn. We should all be grateful. But no, it only created you can get with this, so you can get with that. And this or that is AEW and WWE. In between is MLW, Impact, and NWA. Talking about here in the States. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I love it. I love that we have options. I mean, people like my son and other people that I know, they got better chances than I did when I was in wrestling. It was just WWE, and then eventually TNA Impact would come in, or NWA TNA. I think they changed their name Impact later, but we could complain about it. Complain about wrestling. Yes, do it. But at the same time, you also create the problem. If you're willing to go to the arena and, yeet, 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 and then go online and complain, okay, so you were in the arena getting caught in the hysteria. Yeet, 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 and now all of a sudden online, oh, he sucks. He only does 5 moves. So? Some of the greatest wrestlers in history only did 5 moves and they kicked ass. So I'm sorry. I grew up in a different time, I guess. But let's look at a little bit more of this, and then I'll close it out.
So that's all you need to know about that. And so what WWE does is they boast about when things go good. You know, social media is positive, they boast about it and how amazing it is. But when it isn't positive, all of a sudden they start coping and defending absolute and utter garbage. That is what WWE does. And it's so weird to me because here's the thing. In the Attitude Era, no one on commentary was talking about some, man, we broke this gate record. We sold this many tickets. You know, Mania did this. Our product is great. Look at the viewership, guys. We're getting nearly 8 million a week. We're awesome. We're doing this. No one did that. Do you ever see LeBron James go on Instagram talking about how great he is every day? Do you ever see Tom Brady when he was playing? Did you ever see him going on Twitter every day bragging about his championships? No one does this stuff. Because if something is truly great or if someone is truly great, people just recognize it naturally, and you don't constantly have to tell people how great something is. But when they know that the product isn't good deep down, but they have to make a facade image to brainwash fans, which we'll talk about in a second, that's why Cody Rhodes, gets the lies and gets glazed by random wrestlers. Randy Orton has to go out there in the ring and tell Cody, you've accomplished more than anything I've ever done in my life. Cody's a one-time world champion. Orton's a 14-time world champion, but he's telling the one-time world champion that he's done more than Randy's ever done. It is ridiculous. There's no justification for this stuff. He wants people to sit back and be bots. Don't critique this stuff because we know it sucks. We know it doesn't make any sense. We know it's nonsensical. So we're hoping that you will just watch and be, fall in line with the brainwashed nature of what we're talking about. So they say things like, oh, well, the business is the best it's ever been. The roster's the best it's ever been. No, it's not. Yeah, you may be making the most money you've ever been just because of the product of basic inflation and the sponsors and the deals and all this other nonsense, but the actual product and the roster is not the best it's ever been. You had rosters in the 2000s and the 90s where you had like 10 to 15 Hall of Famers in the main roster alone. Maybe 15 to 20 realistically. You get me? So while views are plummeting heavily, right? You're getting some of the lowest views you've gotten, since you've gone to Netflix with Raw, and you're getting some of the lowest views you've got for SmackDown on USA Network, and the fans are bashing this awful Mania season and this trash content. Triple H is trying to peddle the narrative that things are amazing, things are great. Just watch it as a fan. Don't critique it. It's absolutely ludicrous to operate like this. It makes no sense. And WWE is built in many ways. WWE has been built over the decades, through criticism. It just is what it is. The real fans are the ones who watch it as fans, obviously, of wrestling in general and of pro wrestling, which, by the way, gotta mention something about pro wrestling. I saw a segment last night on my YouTube feed, 2 segments, or one of them really was the one I watched fully. MJF in this thing with the Hurt Syndicate on AEW, that segment last night was a banger. Okay, I watched it. It was great. MJF, obviously, is one of my favorite wrestlers on the planet. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. I think I have, but he is one of my favorite, and I thought that segment was great. So I want to shout out to MJF and his segment on AEW Dynamite last night. But anyways, let's get back into what I was talking about, okay? The real fans are the fans who watch as fans, obviously, but also want the product to be as best as it can be.
Yes.
So they're going to enjoy things, when they're enjoyable and actually, watch the products, but they're going to look at things after they watch it and think about what they just watched. And that way, they can think of ways that it can get better, or maybe this didn't work or that didn't work, so they can critique it so things can advance. They don't just watch it just to watch it. That's not the goal. Why do you think movies and shows and entertainment medias exist? You're supposed to be entertained by good content, good storytelling, good entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Good quality content. Not just sit there and watch it just to watch it. What kind of logic is that?
Okay. So I'm going to end it right there on that. If you guys are interested in watching the whole video, I have the link in the description. Like I said, CJax525. Definitely go to his channel. He's got tons of content on this, guys. This is his content. So you can go there and hear him rant about things. But I wanted to talk before I close my video out. Talk a little bit about my whole thing when it comes to WrestleMania, because I'm from Savannah, Georgia. So I grew up in the NWA territory. I grew up in the NWA territory. So, for us, it was Starrcade around Thanksgiving time. It was a big deal. Didn't have enough money to get the pay-per-view, so I never got to watch it. But I always knew and heard of the spectacle that is WrestleMania. So literally, as kids, we move around. So we moved from Savannah to Chicago, from Chicago to Muncie. And then one day we're at our Uncle Roy and Aunt Wanda's house, and out of nowhere he said, "I'm getting WrestleMania 7." Me and my brother, man, we were so excited. It was like, oh my God, WrestleMania. We getting ready to see WrestleMania. We didn't know how to react to it, you know? It was like, oh my God, we're getting WrestleMania, you know. It was a big deal for us. WrestleMania is a big deal. And there we are, man. We sat there. I didn't move. I didn't move because I'm watching something I always wanted to look at, you know. Like, oh my God, look at this. Look at the crowd. Look at the spectacle of it. That's when Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter faced each other. You know, they used the old Iraq War. WWE or WWF at the time, they knew how to use real life situation and put it in wrestling as an entertainment form. You know, Sergeant Slaughter was the old Iraqian sympathizer, you know. And then, of course, you had that infamous, beautiful match between Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man Randy Savage. You know, the big old retirement match. It was huge. The storytelling in that match, it is, to me, it is the best Warrior match ever. And then, of course, the end where Macho loses and then, you know, gets beat up and attacked by Sensational Sherry. And then ultimately, Lids come out of the crowd and she saves Macho and they reunite. And then, of course, later at SummerSlams that year, they had a match made in heaven, you know. For the people who don't know, you can go to WWE Network. Um, so yeah, I watched it as a fan. And I understand what Triple H is coming at. He's saying suspend your expectation and just be entertained. But that's not easy now because everyone has a perception of the business. Everyone is now a critic. Everyone now feels they know more than the next man. Of course, in the business, we'll call them marks. I'm not going to call you that now. We all are marks in some form where we'll go, why did they go with that? Why was that the decision? I wouldn't have done that if I was them. Well, you're not them. They got billions of dollars on the line here, people. And there's a big gamble this weekend. Literally, this Saturday and Sunday, WWE is putting so much on the line with this WrestleMania. You know, you're closing out with John Cena at his final WrestleMania, and he's taking on Cody Rhodes. And here's another thing: he can break Ric Flair's record. You know, he'll become. Now, granted, there's a lot of people who dispute who's held the most world titles, but let's just go off what it is. Ric Flair right now has the record. Well, him and Ric Flair. Ric Flair and Cena is tied up. So after this weekend, John Cena can break that record. Or if Cody Rhodes win, he continue his title reign. And there's people complaining about Cody Rhodes' title reign, Gunther's reign, and various other wrestlers. Okay, let me give it to you this way. So, who fault is that? Who fault is that? Because these wrestlers do not promote themselves. The writers and the promotion are supposed to do that. So they can only do what they're told to do. People, it's on WWE to make their champions look strong. It's on WWE to make their athletes look strong. So here's how we'll look at it. I'll give you one scenario, but two different wrestlers. Carmelo Hayes, Penta. Carmelo Hayes is one bad SOB. That man can do it. Sweet in the ring. Beautiful poetry. Everything. Penta, a new signee from AEW. One of them is at WrestleMania this weekend in the ring. As of now, things can change. One of them is in the ring. One of them is probably going to be in catering. Okay, so WWE can bring in someone from the outside because he's the new shiny thing from their competitor. Make him look like $1,000,000 with pyro and lighting and presentation, but you can't do it for your own guys. That's my gripe with WWE. My personal gripe. WWE is terrible with promoting their own people inside, that they're constantly looking outside for the thing where it's easier to make good. Now, this is my opinion, but that's how I look at the scenario. There's nothing wrong with Penta and Ray Phoenix being in WWE. I don't care. To me, those guys don't move the needle for me. But the Latino community, it moves it. And that's why you want it. You go to Mexico, you're selling out shows because you got Ray Phoenix and Penta on it, the Lucha Bros, you know? You go to Japan, so you got certain Japanese wrestlers. Now all of a sudden you elevating them on a car. You go to Canada, you got a Canadian wrestler high up on the car. I mean, there's so many ways to look at it. But this WrestleMania weekend, to me, it comes down to, is WrestleMania lame or just okay? It'll be okay, guys. That's how I look at WrestleMania this weekend. It'll be okay. Because in the long term, the long run, these men and women are going to go out there and they're going to bust their butts for you. They're going to give you everything they got. They're going to do their best. They're going to bring their best foot forward. And they're going to give you a hell of a show. Now, I'm not a fan of WrestleMania being 2 nights, but hey, money is money. If you can put 50,000 plus people in a building consecutive nights, then go for it. So hopefully, everyone just look at WrestleMania this weekend. Just suspend your expectation. Just watch it as a fan. That's the best way to look at it. Just watch it and just think to yourself, one day, if you're small enough, like me, when I was watching WrestleMania 7, you can say, maybe one day I can be there. Me? No. I'll be there maybe as a fan someday. Or become a big enough content creator, hint, hint, to be brought in, like I speed them and, get speared my head off. And, no, never mind, man. Somebody would have caught the fade, like, bitch, and ran off. But again, just enjoy it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. That's it. If you're a fan of WWE and it's not what it is, watch AEW. And if AEW is not for you, watch Impact. If Impact ain't for you, watch MLW. Watch NWA. Watch New Japan. Watch the Lucha Libre in Mexico. Watch something in Canada. Watch something in Europe. Just watch something that makes you happy or invest in someone. Because here's how I look at wrestling. What moves the needle? No matter what, if you are doing nothing at night, you got to turn that program on because you got to watch that one performer. Me, right now, it's Swerve Strickland. I absolutely love Swerve Strickland. He's a hell of a performer. And I think, now me, this might be controversial. AEW is doing better with their black male wrestlers than WWE. I know that might not make a lot of people happy. I don't really care. This is my opinion. And my opinion is, when I look at WWE, now NXT, Shawn Michaels is doing a phenomenal job, and that's a discussion for a whole nother video. But when it comes to Triple H, but again, I'm going in it there. I'm just saying, enjoy it, people. Relax, curve your enthusiasm to rage, and just be happy for what's going to be brought to you this weekend. Great wrestling, men and women going to bust their butt. Now, I know the pricing is something that people have brought up, and I'm going to hit you with that. Uh, I was cruising the internet a couple of weeks ago, and they showed a board, and it showed what the price of the tickets was at WrestleMania 19. And I was like, wait a minute. It was $400 to sit ringside. Whoa. Think about that. And now you got tickets going as much as $10K right now. Man, head buster number one. But I digress. Hey, everybody, thanks for sitting here with your boy. It wasn't a rant. It was just me listening to someone rant and then me just giving my opinion. Um, what's your expectation for WrestleMania? Put it in the comment section. Uh, Definitely help your boy continue to grow. Inconspicuous Thoughts is the name of the channel, and I am Ace Mob. Again, if you like the content, what I do, definitely hit the like button, hit the notification bell with the subscribe. Definitely share. Put me out there in the verse, on Facebook, X/Twitter, whatever whatever social media outlet you're on, definitely help your boy continue to grow. So, happy WrestleMania weekend, people. It's here. Relax. Woosah. Enjoy, okay? Just enjoy it. Relax. It's going to be all right. We's going to be all right, baby. Everything's gonna work out. I hope. So, if you haven't heard it from anybody in your life, before I leave, I always say, always remember to be humble and kind, because you don't know what's going on around you and what people's going on in their lives. Be the good, don't be the bad. Spread love, you will get love in return. So, thanks for coming through. Put up the sky, now to you. Love, baby. Yes, go.